So how did he get there?
He's, yeah, things wrong, he's, you know,
Yeah.
he's got, apparently stuff.
Was it close to nothing?
Yeah, so the one, for whatever
How'd you
reason,
get home? Did you take it?
I think we're gonna put a control board
I
in,
was thinking.
in there, we tested everything, I think it's the one that can't run manually. And the other one, they were gonna switch the pump out this afternoon, I don't know if they did
Always
or not.
hard when you feel. Break up.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Even opened up the.
Really was long. But I work on that side.
Not bad, that you know.
Well, glad it was found.
Yes, well. I thought. We're gonna be out there in the snow. Yeah,
Mm,
so that's where we. Look what they found them.
Yeah.
Once in a weekend time. And then, you know, spring cloud, it was in the rain, you know. Yeah, they pushed the.
Mhm. Basically, this is the music, pretty expensive.
They stick together.
Yeah.
Now, no news is good news?
Yeah, it's still, there's a little rumble, but it's. The other day it was, all zones were running good and hot, all the tubes were hot, everything was good, but the return was only 68. And it wasn't running, it sounded good, it just sounded a little off.
Your returns?
Yeah, the return, no, I checked everything and all the, every single line was hot. So I just did what you suggested a few years back and I. Valved off the supply and return going upstairs and it started coming right back up. No, it's running, it's not faulting.
You getting out of Dodge this winter? You headed for Florida for a little while?
We're only gone for 6 weeks.
But you just assume not have something like that going on. From your way.
Well, we can keep an eye on we've got the Nest thermostat, so we can keep an eye on it, but I'm just, I'm really tired of it.
We can only turn the attention to the meeting. Sure. Number 10. Meeting of the town of Morristown is called to order. We started a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with justice for all. Board members should have the minutes from the November 3rd meeting in the packet. If you review them, I would entertain a motion to accept the minutes as read, where it's printed. I'll make that motion.
I wasn't here for the 13th one, so. There's only 2 people. No, it says you worked the 5th. Veterans, you know, second is 5th. Yeah. But I wasn't doing 13, right, I was gone.
That was that was. You were on, did you come by phone?
Yeah, I just talked to him on the phone.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second for the board meeting minutes of the 5th.
Who's second?
He could, this one. Roll call, please.
David,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
Chris,
Since I was absent, I'll abstain.
okay. And Frank?
Aye. The motion carries, the minutes for November 5th are approved. Now. This will be a little trickier. Maybe we won't be able to approve these minutes tonight. Here, there's only Gary and myself that were present.
We can table those.
So we'll have to table these minutes. There is no correspondence. We will move right into public comment and. Richard, I understand you'd like to chat with us.
Yeah, about, the septic system, that's my daughter, she couldn't be here tonight, she's working. And so she's gonna be able to hook into the village sewer.
That way you sound, right?
Yeah, it's down behind. the review
It's about 100 feet probably from that pump house, roughly where the house would be. And I think you thought perhaps like she could hook into it, right, Steve?
Yeah, I did, the only problem is like, I know it's only 100 feet to the pump house, but you can't hook directly to the pump house. We're gonna have to probably go all the way over to like that buffer or try and put another top in. I don't really have a tap inside. Inside the plant.
Where's that buffer? On the others?
It's down towards the condos a little more.
Is it on the same side of the road?
It is on the same side of the road, yes. The problem is, it's just rock, I mean, we just gotta figure out rock removal to get the line in. Or try and put in a grinder pump.
That's what I was gonna think.
We could put a grinder in and pump over, probably pump over to the buffer tank easier than trying to hook to the back.
Right.
We've looked at it a couple times, I mean, I think I said to him, and I had spoke to him was, you know, to come and see how the price balances out, who wants to. We've never done it, like I said before, we've got a few new places coming in with water and sewer that. We're gonna need to be looked at, so.
Would you be looking at water too, or no?
Well, I think she was told that it wasn't possible, but,
Well, that was back when the project quit, you know, when the funding wasn't, you know, we weren't sure where the project was gonna be, and I still, to this point, I don't know. I guess the main is gonna run down through there now, because we're gonna add those people to get the 5, so it is possible that you could get water now.
So those 5 are in that same.
Yeah, almost directly across the road,
Okay.
so, I mean, it is possible now that it could be added into the project. Well, at that time I said no, because there was no.
Because we didn't know about the
Right.
project, now we do know.
Right,
well, I'm sure she would be, wanting water if it's available.
We have water at the sewer plant, right?
no, just seasonal water,
Which that would now be.
which is now gonna become permanent water, so.
So it would make sense to put a main across there, big enough for an expansion
Yeah,
and
then
whatever.
you could just use like a 3/4 lateral across with the mains on the other side, I'm sure that's what the main's gonna be.
What is our policy, or this is new, whether.
I kinda read through it and it doesn't really spell it out.
Who
in-
bears the?
that I've seen in the sewer law, I don't know if Sherry's ever ran into it on the village side.
Yeah.
It didn't really ever say in there, so. Guess we need to.
Well, water would be fairly simple, because that would be included in the new project. I would
Right.
assume.
Her biggest concern was if she'd have to plan for conventional septic system, you know?
Right, yeah, I know that was their.
What's her timeline?
Well. There isn't any, I mean, that would be the end of next summer before,
Well, that gives us time to see where we are, where the responsibility lies financially. But we can start right now, like finding that.
But I think what you're looking for is, yes, we're gonna offer the sewer, right, I mean.
right, yeah.
And then we'll determine the pricing
All right.
out, so I would say
Yeah.
yes, I mean, we talked
I
about
think
this
a grinder
before.
pump and go that way.
Go pump and just pump straight to the buffer,
Mhm.
cause you only need to run an inch and a quarter, it's only.
Mhm.
run.
Right, as long as it's understandable, we don't know how the finance.
Right, that's the only
Finances
thing.
will work out, yeah.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
wouldn't want you to say, oh, you said,
what's the normal, that the homeowner pays like to the pump? Or to the pot, I mean,
Well,
gonna have to pay for the pot and everything,
right, that's, I mean, that's what we've done out in the past out there, so I don't know.
So,
Which I don't know the direct pricing, I think the last one was 3,800-ish,
or just the pot.
yeah. Then you put a pump in it.
When the system was built, I thought that the pots were all supplied by the contractor and then the homeowner had to hook to the pot,
When the projects are being done, yes, that's the way it is, yes,
but not if.
not after project completion,
See, but our house is on the same side and it wasn't accessible to me, so
right,
Right,
and they wouldn't come across the road to me, so.
and you got a conventional,
Conventional system, yeah.
might be cheaper in the long run.
yeah, I mean. Unfortunately, it's all rock right there behind, so.
You could probably get a somewhat budget number.
Is she gonna put like a basement or anything in, or is it gonna be on slab, or don't they even know that much yet?
Don't know for sure, talked about, maybe it wouldn't be a basement as such, but it would be maybe one story with, you know, because like you say, it's all rock.
Mhm.
Perhaps one story and then, which would be a so-called above grade basement, but, and then a house above it, but that's not, don't know for sure.
Cause if you go that way, you can put a smaller tank in the basement, I mean, we do have some cabinet models of like the E1 grinders that you can put in there. So you don't have to go as deep in the ground, which is a little cheaper.
Well, I know slab on grade has been talked about and crawl space has been talked about and. So not really sure.
What I can do is, I mean, I can price it out as far as the equipment wise.
That only-
Both ways, and then you
and
guys
that
can.
could help you make it, make
Yeah.
a decision.
That'd be fine.
But as far as the water, and I mean, just the timeline I seen today, I mean, it'd be 2026 probably before water would be there,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So I mean, that's early staging there, so.
Yeah. And once the water's available, you have to hook to it.
That would be part of that.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where the property is, but if it's in that,
Right next to the sewer plant.
You know where our Riverview is, down Riverview, there's a little back station.
I don't know that one. But, if it's included, if it's in the village limit, which is in water district number 1, then they will be responsible to pay for the project cost. If they're in the district, whether they hook to it or not, they will have to pay the debt service is the way it works. If they're outside of the district. And if it's like the next parcel outside of what the district limit was and they don't hook up to it, then obviously there's no financial responsibility there.
Right.
Whatsoever,
But
but,
they'd be in the district.
Okay.
In the old village district, yes.
yeah,
So, you know, like you had $10,000 for a well and then next year the water becomes available.
Yeah,
The water down to there isn't that great either. So.
Okay, well, we'll just keep everyone in correspondence and informed what's going on,
Sure.
okay?
Yeah, fine, perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Steve?
Yeah.
You'd like the floor?
Yeah, with the Black Lake
Could you
Association.
clean it while you're,
Got back in.
I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. I'm with the Black Lake Association and we were supposed to have people come over before now. You know, we're looking for money. We want to continue with the water testing that we've been doing. Because we've been talking to the DEC and they say they've been testing, they say they know where the problem is with the pollutants coming into the lake. They're saying like the farms, the swamp, the creeks, and with the testing that we've had done. They have determined that the majority of the phosphates and nitrates are coming from the Indian River. But we want to keep testing that, find out, you know, one group of testing, the DEC isn't gonna leave it, but if we have two, you know, that when they both agree, then we have a better chance of getting the DEC to do something about it.
Didn't we, didn't we fund you a bunch of loan?
I believe last year, yes.
Yeah,
I don't, my brother is the one that.
have you used, is that all used up?
We use that for not just the water testing, but we're keeping the channel clear in the north end of the lake. And then they're talking, the DEC will allow us to mark the channel that we cut through there. So that the boats have easier access, they like sort of the Ospadachi River up into Ewelton.
So you're looking for more funding.
Yes,
If unfortunate this didn't come up before our,
yeah, the budget meeting,
Budget meeting.
I know, we were supposed to have somebody come over, but somehow they dropped the ball. I don't know who it was, I can't blame anybody, but.
What is the financial balance in the association?
I don't know, right off. I mean, we're not broke, but you know,
basically, I guess you're giving a heads up because you don't have anything substantial to tell us tonight.
Right.
Okay. Why don't you come back with some, at least come back with some hard facts and
I can do that.
and what you might be looking for, that would give us a lot better feel for
Yeah.
what we might or might be able to do.
Okay, and if we can find it in the budget, after. Give us some, yeah.
Now, Mr. Joe, would you like the floor?
Yes, sir. Love it. I thought what I'd do tonight is just give you a rundown on our finances. And a couple of side items that would go very quickly. And they include the sale by St. Lawrence County of property, the old Benson Mines, J&L. That is going to be developed by an outfit called Astro Aggregates. They are going to mine the ore that is there. I'm not saying iron ore, I'm just saying ore, everything that's there. And they are going to, they anticipate shipping out in the course of a year in the 3,000 rail car figure. They don't have a number of employees yet that they're going to bring in there, but it should be significant to do something like that. You know, the labor, the equipment operators, the railway that's gonna have to come in there. So that's a bit of pretty good news. In addition to that, there is another outfit that was located and retained, for lack of a better term, a solar outfit that's going to put up a 12 megawatt solar farm. They expect that in a 2-year period, they'll have 50 to 75 people working on it. And it actually results in only about 5 full-time employees after it gets up and running, but 5 is better than none. So between the two, it should be a significant boost to that southern part of St. Lawrence County. And it's always a pleasure for the county to get rid of property that they're not doing anything with, and that's part of it right there. So that's where we are with that. In addition to that, we purchased a building in Messina that we currently rent from one of the McGinns. And it's in that Harrogate Commons, they call it. Across the road from McDonald's and back towards that wooded area in there. It's a very nice building. It's about 20 years old. The original price was almost $1 million, just short of $1 million. We were able to get it for a little over 900,000. That is currently we rent the whole building. It's got a motor vehicle department in there. It's got probation people in there. It's got the Office of the Aging in there. Plus, we're looking at putting in some of the Department of Social Services people. Currently, it's our backup site for the 911 center. And as a backup site, it is actually the primary site right now as the work on the emergency services building across from the courthouse continues. So speaking to that, that should finish up sometime in the March, April time period. They're doing finishing work, wiring, and the exterior portion of it that needed to be dug up, regrounded, put in a large permanent generator. So there's been a lot of work going on, and it's coming to fruition. We figured that at the asking price for that place in Messina, that in 10 years, with the rent money that we pay, we would have paid it off. And it seems rather foolish for keeping that in mind that we might better pay for it now and avoid some of the at least the monthly, yearly costs of that building. Pay it off, and there's significant monies in the fund balance to take care of that. And that's what we plan on doing with some of that money. Our budget, it passed last Monday, the 2025, it amounts to $304.8 million, which is up 2.8%, or 8.4 million from last year. We appropriated almost $1 million of that money from fund balance, and rather than see it sit there, we decided to use it. We're also using it to increase the number of miles of road, county road, and bridges that we are either replacing or refurbishing or repairing. We did almost 85 miles this year, which was an increase of 40 miles. We bid out a couple of those jobs rather than have our highway department do it all. We will do the same thing this year and hope to get 100 miles done. That would, in a 5-year period, do all of the county roads in St. Lawrence County, not all the bridges and large culverts, but all the roads would have seen something done in a 5-year period, or all of the ones that needed to work. Some of it, it's an ongoing thing where we've only been able to budget for about 40 miles worth of road a year. Now, this is a big investment towards that. And what we're also doing is with respect to the campus that the court is located on, we're looking at replacing all the windows in the new courthouse, all the windows in the surrogate court building that now houses the indigent defense and the county attorney and his staff. All the windows in the old jail, new roof on the old jail, refurbishing the old sheriff's residence, completely tearing off the front of it and replacing it exactly like it was back in the day. quite impressive if you get a chance to, drive by, take a look at it. We've, invested, several $1 million in that from fund balance and from that ARP funding. So that's gonna get spent as required, without any, problems. What we're looking at here, that affected the, increase in monies for the budget was, health insurance increase of, over, $2.2 million. Assigned council costs that the state has said, we'll pay half, you gotta pay half. And whatever the figure amounts to, and, which is significant. They're looking, they're bargaining now, and they're looking for, salaries that, over a 3 or 4 year period, would put them up in the $200,000 a year bracket. We simply can't and don't want to afford something like that. How we're gonna handle the required number of attorneys, if we don't pay the rate, we don't know, but we're gonna find out. Let me see. We are finishing up our negotiations. We've completed one signed contract with the Civil Service Association, which is the largest unit. The second one that we think we finished, and we've got a pending agreement, is with the solid waste people. The other two are with the corrections officers in the county jail and the indigent defense. So those two are ongoing, and hopefully we'll get that settled in short order. To wrap it up, the 2024 true value tax rate, or excuse me, the 2021 tax rate was $8.19. This past year, it was like $7.15. In 25, it'll be $6.97. You gotta remember that number is affected by your assessment value and where you are in that. And so I don't know what it's going to be for Morristown or any of the other towns until it's true value, the assessment value is added into it. So you have to wait your assessor and the taxman gets his bills out. It should be soon.
Are you trying to say it looks promising?
Well, I will tell you, we were able to reduce it again. It's not bad every year since 2021 to see it go down. I think that the reason it went down is the increase in assessments. It took a significant jump this year compared to the 1.5%, 2% that for the past 5 or 6 years it's been traveling at. It went up over 11% this past year. And that's the reason why there is a influx, if you will, of monies that are coming in because of that. And that's one of the things, plus the sales tax, obviously, that is keeping that true value tax rate on a downward slope. So I'm happy to see that. I think everybody else is too. Question?
I would say, sounds like it, what is affected is construction and sales.
Well, we've got a significant amount of money in the fund now. Okay, it's over 70 million. We want to use it on things that need to get done, and that's what we're doing. The courthouse was finished in 1993, so it is 20-some years old. It needs, it's hard to believe, it needs attention. That jail hasn't been used in 10 years for anything constructive, and replacing the roof was $1 million item. Replacing the windows is going to be about a $700,000 item, and that's just the windows in the jail, not counting the windows in the surrogate court building, that we don't even have a price on. So, you know, 73 million will go down awful fast.
Thank you, Joe.
Welcome, thank you.
So we're moving to old business, and you'll see you have your monthly supervisory report in your packet. And as we move into, when we move into new business, you'll see budget mods, which would reflect from looking at some of this. Well, everybody got a chance to review it or wish to review it? Or if you have questions next month on this, bring it to the.
Is that the financial report, Frank?
Yes.
Well, I got prepped by Carol. So I have just a couple of things, messages from Carol. One is to note that the sales tax receipts are about $50,000 over budget. And it was with that, that number was pretty much in mind when we planned the 2025 budget. So this is not a surprise. And we need to transfer back into the general fund money that we put in the water fund a ways back. And we'll calculate the interest
It has to be paid back.
due to
Yes.
general. And that'll clean that up. Right now, there's about 87,000 in the water fund. And we need to repay just under 49,000. So that'll leave good operating funds in there. That suggests to me that probably our rates are okay for next year, but I thought after the year wrapped up that it would be prudent to
Take another.
really go over that again, try to make sure we're in good shape. And as we are talking later on about the new water project, I think that we need to really look at the way that we track finances during a big construction project. I've been looking into various webinars about municipal finance. And the by the book approach to capital projects of this size is that you really keep a separate set of books for that. You don't blend that into the operating
I think
costs of the
you're going to take us
water
there
system.
in your report.
Yeah, I can get into a little bit. I mean, I can't give you financial advice on it, based on ethics, I guess, but I can tell you what other mountain towns do. You are right, they have separate accounts. They'll call it like a capital project fund.
Yeah.
And so like when you'll have, cause you're gonna have cash flow coming in and out during the project, quite a bit. And you're correct, most towns will keep that separate from your main operating budgets.
Yeah, we don't want to mingle the
Right,
capital costs with, let's say, the costs of filters and things that we do.
yes, exactly. Yep, you wanna make sure you keep those separate. So they'll open a separate, either a bank account or a separate, some kind of a separate financing item that'll track just the project expenses and costs. And then, once the project is complete, you're gonna close on long-term financing, and then that kind of gets closed out, and it will shift over to your main operating
Yeah.
budgets at that point, at the very end of the project.
We don't need to make that plan or figure that out tonight,
No,
but we need to, as we go through this project, do that upright so that we're not at all confused as we go through the water project on
well,
how much we've spent on capital.
we wanted to be transparent to all of us concerned.
I think with that, it appeared to me, unless Carol wrapped it up in the last hour or two this afternoon, it appeared to me that we're gonna have to do more budget modifications before the year closes.
Yeah. Other than this, yes.
So we'll have to come back at this and perhaps have a special meeting.
Well, we'll have a year end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that conversation with Carol today. She said, oh yeah, we're gonna have, we'll have to have it. And she said, this would be one of the reasons we need to do a year-end meeting.
Yeah.
So. All right,
Right, could I just say something?
of course.
I'll tell you what the county does with that. They call it a reserve fund, all right? And the county has 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 of them. And I'll just read the titles of them off. Employee benefit approved liability, capital facilities, capital highway equipment, sheriff's vehicle reserve, blighted foreclosed properties, and liability and self-insurance. That's all money that has come in that we didn't retain in our large fund balance. What we did is appropriated those monies, and year after year, we keep contributing to them until we reach what we've set as a limit. And then we would stop contributing to it. But those reserve funds are the way to go.
With that, we will then move into water project updates and Taylor, you have the floor.
Okay. I'm going to give out, we have a memo for you guys.
Okay.
Yep. Might have already seen this, Frank, but I'll give you another hard copy. So as I'm sure all of you know, you guys got some awesome news, last month in regards to the, financing for the project. You guys were awarded a $5 million, bill grant, which is bipartisan infrastructure law through the New York State EFC, Environmental Facilities Corporation. And then you were also awarded a, up to a $5,145,500, 0% interest-free financing for the balance of the project. So that is the gold standard funding package for water projects. Really, that's available to any town and village. So that was a home run to be able to hit that a second time, especially because you guys were awarded this one time when we had the bigger, larger project. We were able to repackage it and configure it where we were still scored enough points to get you the 5 million all over again. So took a little time, but we got it, and you know, it's awesome news for you guys. So with that being said, you know, the total project budget was $9.85 million. So $5 million of that being grant. That's over 50%, just over 50%. And that is really what the funds were necessary to proceed with the project at this point. So what we did was we laid out some next steps for the board. We have a project schedule there that kind of goes through. That's a 1,000-look view of the schedule, but we would have project design starting potentially next month, go through November 2025. There's going to be we're recommending a band. I'll get into that a little bit, but that would be looking for maybe in February to close on something like that. You'd have closing on your EFC financing, so there's a closing process on the grant dollars and 0% loan that I just mentioned. And then you would have to get into regulatory agency review of our design drawings and specs and contract drawings. They have to go to DOH, potentially DOT. I don't know if there's a DOT road in here anymore, but there are some agency reviews process that we have to get approvals, and then ultimately we will be looking to bid it in the spring of 2026, and construction starting in 2026, and then finishing in October of 2027. Obviously, things can happen in between there, but that's the schedule that we would be shooting for with the project to move forward. Starting next month. So with that being said, what we'd be looking out of the board would be, BNL would provide you guys with an engineering design amendment. It would basically cover BNL's cost to take the project from where it is right now, and it would cover all of our costs through the construction of the project. So it's going to be a big one, but we would be looking for to provide that to you guys for next month's meeting and potentially have it considered by you guys at that time. So, that's one thing that we'll most definitely get it over to you ahead of time so you can take a look at it. It will be an amendment to our current agreement, so we have. You might remember the 60-page agreement that we did with the water project. A lot of it is already laid out as far as the scope of services and everything in the original agreement. It would just be populating the fees and whatnot in this amendment at that point, so. All right, so that would be something to be looking for next month. As far as the financing goes, so you guys were awarded the $5 million and the 0% interest financing. Great news, however, the closing process with New York State EFC typically takes anywhere from 6 to 12 months. So you guys were awarded the funds, you won't be able to receive any of those funds until the project is closed. There's a whole bunch of back and forth that we'll be doing with EFC. They'll be requesting all sorts of documentation for the project. Legal documents, have to go through a lot of attorneys, and then there's only certain months of the year that the closing committees of EFC will meet and that essentially approve and actually move to close on the project, so that's why it can take that long. In order to, and you know, we don't necessarily really want to wait that long because the longer you wait, you're dealing with inflation on the project. So think of a $9.85 million project. Typical inflation is 3% a year. 3% on $10 million is an awful lot of money. So what we typically recommend is the town would look to receive a bond anticipation note. That is it's essentially a short-term financing option that you guys have. You would be taking out a loan. Your bond counsel can help you basically advertise and secure that band. When we do these bands, we aren't banning for the full $9.85 million. All we are looking for is essentially the amount of money needed to take you through when we anticipate closing is going to occur. So you'll be incurring design fees along the way. You might have some legal fees and whatnot, but we can certainly provide you guys with a budget as far as cash flow projections up until about a year, because typically bands are 6 months or a year, and then they will have to be recalled or will be callable. I guess you can have a callable band, you can pay it off any time, but typically we would recommend doing about a 1-year band, and then once you close on financing, that EFC financing would pay off your band and you'd work just off the EFC funds at that point. So I guess the kicker with the band is that there are some interest charges that you have to pay with a band because it is through a bank, but when you weigh the amount of interest you pay on a band, a significantly smaller band than the total project versus the 3% inflation, it's going to work out that it's a benefit to proceed with a band versus taking that inflation hit. So that would be something that we would be looking for you guys to start procuring with a bond counsel, and looking to probably close, February timeframe, maybe March, but that would be about the timeframe we would be shooting to look to close on something like that. So you guys have everything already in place to be able to do that. To take out a band, you need a bond resolution. Project does have a bond resolution. That was part of the funding package that we had to put together. So you are able to do that with this bond resolution. And now that we can show that the funding is secure, it is really a smooth transaction to be able to do that process. So the band will take you from, it'll give you cash flow. You take out the band, they'll give you the wire the money. It'll be in a separate account, like you said, Chris. You'll be working off of that band, paying, like I said, design fees, whatnot. In the meantime, we're also working with EFC to close on your short-term financing, because that short-term financing is 0% interest. So as soon as you close, you can pay that off, and you'll no longer be paying interest on any of the funds for the project at that point, because of this funding package that you guys secured.
Taylor?
Yep.
Is the town able to draw on the state funds after we've closed
Yes.
before paying the bills?
Yes, you are. Yeah. So the financing package you have is a dispersible funding package. It's not reimbursable. So what will happen is you guys will get invoices, contractors pay apps. You'll take those, you'll review them at your board meeting. You will approve them, and that time you'll send what's called a disbursement request to EFC. They will review the bill and everything, and then they will wire you the money typically in about 10 days.
When
To your
did,
account?
when did they get so reasonable?
It was, I would say in the last probably 4 years, it used to be quite the process to get that. And lately they've been, once you are closed on financing, it really smooth lines the process of receiving the funds and paying them out. So that you're able to use them as really your short-term financing for the project, once you close. So, I think that's it. I know that was an awful lot of information. I hope I didn't confuse you, but I was trying to give you kind of the rundown of the next steps here in the next few months. You know, I can certainly answer any questions you guys might have, but I think the big takeaway would be, the next step would be authorizing, BNL to start performing the engineering and the design of the project at this point. And then we'd be looking for, consideration at next month's meeting for that.
I find what you presented us very understandable, what you put out there. I don't know anybody else have it.
Will the engineering costs with BNL be a part of the package that gets financed?
Yes, yep,
Yeah.
pretty much everything, from what you've done in the past and up until now and in the future will all be part of the eligible project expenses. The way that we have set things up, you know, from in the past and up to this point, everything should be eligible for that project cost, that $9.85 million, it's all been budgeted into that.
I was counting my chickens and I wanted to make sure that I.
Yes,
So from an engineering standpoint, we've already paid for a lot of this engineering that you're gonna be doing. This project has not changed that much.
so we've done, yeah, you've done the engineering as far as the.
What I'm
report
paying
goes.
is I don't wanna pay twice for something, but we've already paid once.
Yes, yeah, so we're working off of the reports and everything that we've done, but now we have to put together. The actual design drawings, the specs, the really nitty gritty things that take a lot more time than what we've been doing at this point, so. And we also have,
We paid quite a bit, so.
So you'll
To
have-
you guys, so I'm kinda hoping it's pretty reasonable when we get to some of this, cause like I say, this whole project really has not changed a lot.
right. Yeah, and then the other things that'll be in part of our agreements is a lot of our subcontracting that we have to do as far as survey. You know, if we have any borings, there's some. Environmental and permitting things we need to do as far as, you know, historical look at the sites, and there's a lot of other things that are included in that amendment as well, not just design stuff too.
Anything else? No? Very good. Well, appreciate
Thanks, Taylor.
Okay,
appreciate your hour 20 drive up here.
yeah, and actually, we do have another project going on with you guys. If you remember, we have the Black Lake
Oh, yeah.
sewer study. We have been progressing that. We're shooting to have the report done for, there's a May deadline for the 2026 IUP listing. So we're shooting for that target, but we will be looking to probably meet with you guys to discuss, you know, the evaluation and what we've come up with for that. As far as the timeline, I would imagine it would be maybe 2 months timeframe. We'd be looking to get together. You guys were still waiting on a few vendor quotes and numbers and things on that, but just wanted to give you an update that we are working on that. So,
We'll be here.
all right.
Thank you, Tim. So we'll move into new business, and everyone should have a budget mod sheets in front of them.
Is it appropriate for me to ask a question?
No, it's appropriate for you to.
Well, I've talked about it before, but, I just wanna get some clarity, I guess, because I'm kind of fixed. Page 5, economic assistance and opportunity for blisters. It's $15,000 and that last year before, if very specifically.
Are you back to this?
I'm on this, yes.
That-
It's page 5, it's $15,000, and I asked.
You're
you
on the budget, right?
specifically- Yes.
Yeah,
And it was Deborah Pinger. Could I ask, for a little clarity on, in particular, what that job is for that salary?
course,
I mean, I don't need to know every single thing that person does, but
and this is not necessarily all gonna be flat out, but we put that much in anticipation. It's, she is, paid by the amount of time she puts in.
she has an hourly wage.
Yes. So, it's, what's included is, the website.
Okay.
She's worked on I'm trying to think of the name of the thing that puts like road closures and all of that.
It's the alert
Yeah.
system.
Yeah, those are a couple things that, but it was all about trying to add more transparency, so yes, she does that, because it shouldn't fall to the clerk to do those things. We put somebody in it,
So does she get $15,000 a year, or is that like
we
a
put that in.
budget? That's a budget,
That's
and
a budget,
she
can go up to that.
she submits a monthly
Right.
report of X amount of hours times.
What did we pay her last year?
Right now, I don't have it off the top of my head.
She hasn't
This
been
is-
here quite a
No,
year.
this is, we gave her some money, something, didn't we?
She probably has hours for deputy clerk and some communication.
Okay, I just wanted clarity on, is it $15,000 a year? Or
Or
is
it's not a blanket, this is what you're,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
there's gonna be some weeks or months, there'll be very little activity.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's, and there's no commingling, like she's doing stuff you'll see her in the office, but she could be working for some of the museum projects, but
We don't pay for that.
we don't pay for that.
Okay,
No,
So she has an hourly-
Thank you.
she has an hourly rate and it's
Yes,
associated
you're
with.
gonna ask me about hourly rate and I don't.
You don't have to tell me her
I was gonna say, I
hourly
don't
rate.
have to. at the top.
I don't need to know, I just wanted to know
Yeah,
if the salary is 15,000,
No.
that's the max.
that's what we put in, just
Okay.
like, yeah, some other anticipation at the most,
Okay,
what things could be. We have to put it, yeah, as you know, in a budget, you have to put some solid, concrete number in it.
okay, I got it. Thank you.
Okay, so we're back to the budget mods. Hope everyone had an opportunity to review them. We do that with one motion, can we not? Jill? I think we have support.
This is just cleaning up some,
Mm-hmm.
what was the 81,000 for?
That was the,
But we go so far out there.
that would be, that's the garage.
Machine being for 28,000, what was that from? That garage?
They must have just pulled that from the wrong line, I believe. That was for the mower,
Okay,
this back mower, but there was 122,000 and I was actually looking at that. Yeah, 5130.2 for the 122,000, but they 51.30.4. They pulled it out of there, which was zeroed out, which that used to be our lease payment, we were leasing trucks, so I think she's just.
It was an error.
Yeah, I think they're just transferring that out.
I'll make a motion to accept these budget amendments.
You know, some of my point ones, were overdrawn because that's for the summer help, that other part-time guy came out of that. Didn't realize when we did the budget, I don't think that was really thought in there, but,
I don't think it was that.
right, so that's how some of my point ones are overdrawn by that too, so.
So we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
If the motion is made and it's seconded, roll call, please.
Dave,
Alright,
Gary,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Frank,
Aye. The motion carries. The budget bonds are approved. We do not have any bids to open up on cemetery maintenance or interment. I suspect I didn't see anything here in my packet on interment either, did we?
No,
No. The next item is the procedure to sell paper streets. You've worked on that, Jill, so I'm going to turn the floor off over to you on that.
so Carol came up with, a quick claim deed, which was taken from some previous, sales of paper streets. So, she presented two, one for Rory Young. And she wanted to know if the board felt comfortable doing the quick claim deed like this, or shall we go through our lawyer for one? And it is word for word from one of the ones that we had through a lawyer. There is one that you may want to table until it's completed is Ed and Tracy Gagne. Only because they're purchasing property from another home, property owner. And they're going to be, what do I want to say? They're going to be adjoining them, so the tax map is going to change. And in this quick claim, it has the current tax ID map number.
So it have to happen, something will have to happen twice.
Yeah, I mean, you could either approve it to, if you want it, when the sale is final, correct the tax map number in the paperwork, or table this until it's completed and bring it back to the board.
Did they give you any indication of how long it would take to complete?
It's not known because the property is in a state.
There was an issue, if I can interject, there was an issue with that because paperwork was misplaced at the time. And it goes all the way back to when Mark Daigle was our attorney.
Yeah.
So we finally got that straightened out, so it might behoove you to table that.
Yeah.
Until that gets straightened out because of the estate, because of the
Gotcha.
particular estate.
We know this.
Yeah.
Okay, I would take that under advisement. Does the board agree? So we'll table that one, but we don't have to table the one for Rory Young, is that correct?
Correct.
I'm comfortable with this quick claim deed is we have it put together here. I'm anxious to know what the rest of the board feels. In your history, do you see any red flags on that, Karen? Do you want to see them?
Yeah.
It's not an involving only the that quote unquote paper street piece.
So, the letter of interest was received by each of the homeowners, which you guys had recommended the last time that it was brought up. And if there is a tax map on each parcel, so that was included. Yeah, like I said, she took it away from one other, from the lawyer.
It's not like, it's not contingent on something else, it's.
Right,
Right.
right, exactly. And I think you would have to look at each individual case too, because depending on. Like the other
Yeah,
situation, I think you need to look at one, so it can't just be a. like this is the way we're gonna go all the time.
Right,
It would be
case by
individual
case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think.
And I
Yeah.
think that's what we're, yeah, and that's what we're doing here by tabling that one.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good with that. So, quick claim deed for we need that in a, do we need that in a motion? Probably.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll make the motion. That we do a quick claim deed for, and I'll second it. Yeah, I can't,
Yep, you can.
we found it, we can. We had conflicting stuff with that, first I couldn't, or I did, and then I couldn't, and then I can't.
So we gotta keep an eye on it.
Okay, David,
Hey,
Gary,
I,
Chris, Frank,
aye. The motion carries. We will honor the request from the board for a quick claim deed to this property.
Given that there's a question and problem with the other proposal, I wonder whether or not this might be worth running it by Andy Silver. So that this gets done, so that it at least has his approval.
I do know that the parcel that they're purchasing from that estate is in the hands of Andy Silver at the current time. They are working on that.
Right.
It's, yeah, Rose is working it up. That was Carol's last statement.
So I think if that's cleaned up, there shouldn't be any red flags. So. All right. All right, Morristown Central School requests for installation of bus repeater system and antenna on the water tower. You have that request in your packet.
I'd like to approve the request with the proviso, which is standard when people install equipment on towers, that the last person to put equipment on would resolve any interference problems with the people who are already there. And it does get more and more complicated. The more transmitters you put on a single site, the more times you discover that there's interference, but it's always the last guy's responsibility to clean it up. So the terminology might be, you know, we approve placing an antenna on the water tower, provided that
With
the school,
caveats.
provided that the school will resolve any interference problems created by the addition.
You want to put that in motion?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
So.
Okay.
So the motion's been made and seconded.
All right, David, Gary,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
and Frank.
Aye, the motion carries.
I just added that too, so the school had called me on it and I told them to propose this to the board. They're also leaving, because as some of you know, as of next fall, the fire department repeaters that we work off of now on the town side will no longer, our radios will no longer work. So I'm trying to see if we as a town can also use this repeater for our town and just use town, the radios we have, and they can work off this repeater without. Because right now, with the new radio system, they're like $3,200 a piece for the radios that they're digital, basically they work off cell phone towers, now they work off these repeaters, so. And really 25 miles, I mean, will cover the same distance that the school does too, so we're trying to see if we both can use it, so. It might help us out too.
All right, with that, we will turn our attention to department reports. Jill, you have the floor.
Okay, well, I went to a seminar yesterday with Association of Towns, and there's a couple of housekeeping policies that we need to come up with. One of the biggest things lately is a FOIL request. Somebody might FOIL us for a disciplinary for an employee or anything for an employee. And we have to have a policy put in place of how we're going to inform the employee. Whether we, put in our policy that we're going to email them, or we will send them a certified letter stating that we've received this FOIL request on them.
I like the certified letter.
Oh, absolutely, I do too, yeah. Yeah, so I'll come up with a policy. They gave us a few samples and I'll come up with that and bring it to your attention.
Thank you.
And the DEC, they revamped the website because now they're going to allow us, if we choose to, charge for the printing of the license. A whole $1 will probably make 10 cents on it. I don't sell a enormous amount like a city would, so I just don't feel that, I don't feel comfortable charging our taxpayers $1 to print a piece of paper. When they've already purchased that paper anyway. My opinion.
And the ink.
In the ink, yeah.
As opposed to a 50-cent check that I've got to send to the state for using the interstate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought, oh, I'll just put the change in there, no change.
yeah. And one of the other things is, the even year election proposal that they propose, it's not a done deal yet. It is still in the Court of Appeals. They're hoping that it'll be, there will be a decision made on it by February, because that's when we start the process for elections. So that was the three biggest issues.
Okay, thank you, Joe. We will now turn the floor over to our highway department.
I'll just start out, I see somebody's had this letter, from the insurance, so that's where we are with that again. I'm trying to work with Andy pretty much every day on it, so. This is today is. That.
Yes, it came in and I asked Joe to copy it off and put in everybody's.
So I guess my question is we need to find out the signed release, for the final review.
I also wanted to inform you that I responded to Andy on that date, and I said it would work for me, but I would like you included in that meeting.
Oh,
Yes.
What is the amount on that?
I don't know the final total, Carol had that on that. She didn't actually include it, she usually includes that in our packet.
Dean, I'm looking at the line that says, they will not consider any supplemental payments. What are they talking about there?
Well, I don't know either.
Well, if I'd be guessing, but I would say supplemental would be after the fact. That, oh yes, and we have this.
Right.
But don't know that, but that's an answer we'll try to get when we talk.
Yeah.
Before Friday is when he wanted to. And I said yes.
I mean, we've submitted every documentation, canceled check we've had, we submitted everything that we have possible. I mean, Friday they called us. This Justin called us, wanted, the rent, there was like the stuff we rented from the county. Few other odds and end ones that Carol says they were in the packet, either way, we resubmitted them. There was a few questions where they're related to the fire, well, yes, we had to rent equipment, you know, we didn't have the equipment to maintain roads, so we had to rent something. And my thing is like, this is all covered, so this is my next conversation is I think at some point, I was kind of hoping the insurance was here tonight, because we need to sit down and see what we do have for coverage on some of this stuff. I mean, they said the day of the fire, oh, don't worry, we're all covered. This adjuster guy came that we hired, thought we were doing good there. Oh, you guys are covered on rent, you know, code upgrades, all this other stuff, and here we are 2 years later, and we're out there.
And
I see what the $211,000 for great depreciation, sounds like gonna be out. Looks like to me,
so
the town is eligible for 211,000 depreciation, so.
It says
Is eligible?
eligible,
is eligible.
it is eligible, so I don't. But like, I just went through the policy, every year they send it to us, and I'd like to sit down at some point, because. There was some numbers that she says has been there, and I don't know, without going to previous policies, but like our equipment in our plants. Like, there was $20,000 for one vacuum station for contents, well, we just bought a vacuum pump, $21,000 for one of them. You know, those fiberglass tanks burn up, or God, there's a fire, explosion, whatever, I mean, it's all happened here.
That said, by the way, I did talk to, I didn't talk to you, Tyler, I talked about, when we, with this project, we would like, you know, we want, real numbers that we can then reflect in our, on our insurance.
Yeah, we can do the bid numbers, if you know that, you know.
Right.
I think we kind of, you and I touched on
Yeah,
that.
so just, I guess it's been a rough learning curve for me. I tried to put to it and talk to them down the insurance, and of course, they won't talk to you about the claim now at Wayne Storage, so.
Yeah.
That's, we just sell the insurance, well, we have questions now, you know, or just don't know. That's all I have on the insurance part.
So what have we roughly got from that? How many?
I think we're right around $1 million we've gotten from them.
Harold said, unless this comes in, we're gonna have to cash in our other CD. Cover things,
So what do we got in this 1.5?
excuse me.
1.5, do we have in this thing or no?
I can't, I wish usually she has that thing. I get you that number tomorrow.
Yes, we'll have that for you. You know what, Dave? I hate it when you're right.
I hate insurance companies, I hate them with passion.
My sister Stephanie would, if she could speak, would say, yes, I do too. Okay. Any other questions we can answer? Not to make light of it by anyone. Anything else, Dean?
I do, so, one of the trucks that we had ordered, that we've ordered twice now, was put on hold again due to the emissions. DEC guidelines stopped all trucks being built, so we filed for an exemption. I filled out the exemption form today and sent it back to the sales guy at Allegiance, so basically it's saying that plow trucks and any municipality trucks, fire trucks is considered emergency vehicles, so DEC for 2 years will say, as long as you fill out this exemption for 2 years, we'll complete your building of your truck without going.
I wonder with the new administration, anything will change.
And that could change, but for right now, to keep this process going, this is what you have to,
understand.
and it's nothing really, it's just basically the dealer, our information and signing saying that, yes, it's being used for, you know, emergency or municipality vehicle. Other than that, winter is, we've had a few snowstorms, everything seems to be up and going well. Had a few breakdowns, but
And a nice building to put them in.
we do, it is nice to work in a building that is not outside, so
Thank
I
you.
think that's it, unless anybody else has any
We
questions.
appreciate all your positive. Thinking and work. We now have we have before us the code officer's report, it's in your packet. It lists 6 projects. On there for your review.
Can I ask a quick question? That's the house that's on Main Street. I'm not gonna come up with a number, right, almost across from Bottle Rocks, that has the tarp.
The gift wrap one?
Yeah, that. I mean, he's been working on that for how long?
Has it been 3
Do we
years,
know?
4 years?
So is like a permit, how long is that permit for?
A year, should have been renewed,
Yeah.
which I don't think it's ever been renewed.
Let me make a note of that.
Because
Some
it
things
looks,
will be,
I ain't seen it.
sometimes things will be hiding right in plain sight, you know?
yeah, I mean, it's.
Yeah.
Has he done anything?
Well, we don't know what he's been doing on the inside.
I'm sorry?
We don't know what he's done on the inside.
He's not even.
Right, right,
You know,
no,
He's gone half the year.
right, and it could be gorgeous, but it's the outside of it is.
I do know that he was in the office at the end of the summer. he did come in and speak to Lisa. I don't know what business they've conducted, but.
Just curious.
Yeah, I'll. She's used to hearing those footsteps come up the stairs, and that's me. Usually it's about. not
Any,
construction, it's destruction.
anything new with Blackstone Bay with that, the old, store there, that's fallen in?
Oh, only at one point we heard it was going to be repaired, but that was, you know how the grapevine works.
Yeah. That's
I haven't got, we don't have any mowed down there at the.
okay.
Communications, so that would be, there's no report.
No, she didn't, she said she didn't have anything. It's the norm,
Assessor, usually,
nothing.
nothing. Historians report, there is right here in your packet from a highly regarded historian, is a report here. There's no other business. I will make a motion to adjourn. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? The meeting's adjourned.
There you go, so.
Oh, you know what? Just a minute. We need to set up, sorry, we gotta bring the meeting back into. And because we need to set up a year end.
Oh, yeah, year-end meeting.
I'm sorry.
Which involves these gentlemen.
Yeah.
Just, we don't have to say that.
We just need to kind of, really much kind of do is agreement on you. So.
Randall Hackley.
Yes.
What looks favorable to you, gentlemen, for the meeting?
How about Monday the
Merry
30th?
Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas to you and your family. 30th, that would work for me.
Remind me.
Yep.
Monday,
Real.
the December 30th.
Hey, Gary. Year end, yeah, do we wanna do it a day, an afternoon meeting?
And say what time?
2 o'clock? 2 p.m.? Or will you, before David gets into the libation? 2 p.m. work?
Noon, get it over with.
Noon?
Okay,
Is that a public meeting?
Yes, it would be. Yep.
In case I want to go to the end.
You might want to after the meeting.
Okay, it's agreed that it will. So, now we will officially close the meeting. Take care.
Okay.
So, sometimes after the first.
It's not gonna happen.
That's why I suggested,
Yeah,
that.
I put a GB in there and be done with it.
That's, I was looking at the Will McLean and I spec'd it out and then.